Hi everyone, welcome you all today, 25th of November, and we are now online with UCLG-MEWA Local Government Talks. Today we have honorable guest, Mr. Ambassador and D-8 Secretary General, Dato Jaafar Shaari, and we are going to talk about together the economic and local impact of COVID-19 pandemic on D-8 countries together. And I would like to remind you one thing, that you can join us with your comment and questions via the MEWA hashtags like the MEWA meets on social media. So, Mr. Shaari, thank you very much, first of all, for joining us. I know that you are in a really busy time, but you separate this time. Thanks again. Hope that you are in a good health and with your friends also.
Thank you very much. Alhamdulillah, everything is good over here. And thank you for giving me this opportunity just to talk to the audience regarding the COVID-19 issue.
Thank you very much, Mr. Secretary General. Allow me to start the first question. And of course, I want to just touch upon this. Could you please introduce us to D-8 organization, Developing Aid Organization for Economic Cooperation, please?
Yes, D-8 is an intergovernmental organization. When we established it in 1997, focus was given for economic cooperation, and we aims to strengthen, member state position in the global economy. So that's I think the important one. And we have 8 member states. They are Bangladesh, Egypt, Indonesia, Iran, Malaysia, Nigeria, Pakistan, and Turkey. And as I said, it was established in 1997, where we want to focus on 3 areas of importance. One is to consolidate economic cooperation within the D8 community by boosting intra-trade. And second, we want to achieve higher economic development and social welfare of the people of member states. And the third one, to enhance participation in decision-making process at international level.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Very nice firstly. And let's start the second question. Especially, I want to talk about the COVID-19, the pandemic.
Yes.
You know that the world has been deeply affected by this outbreak. And could you please evaluate the outbreak generally for us?
Well, I think everyone now is talking about it.
Yes.
Worried about the situation. In fact, I would say it's a bit unprecedented of what we are facing right now, both for human and for our economic situation.
Yes.
And as we know, the virus has spread all over the world. No one has been spared then. And but as of 23rd November 2020, as we look at the figure, is a bit worrying, of course. It has reached something like more than 58 million confirmed cases, and with more than 1.3 million deaths. So that is something for us to be really worried. Yeah, and I would like to emphasize that the impact of COVID-19 pandemic is not only restricted to health issue. I always look at it more as a humanity issue. And the economic impact, the social implication are enormous. So, and we are now fighting hard to contain the spread of the virus. But hopefully, with the latest news that vaccines are being, able to be, inshallah, produced soon, hopefully that will help us, in facing this problem.
Yeah, Mr. Secretary General, actually, I just want to learn about the D8 countries situation, and this is, that important.
Yeah.
what kind of measurements have been taken, and also the current situation also is important. What do you want to say about this?
Yeah. As I mentioned just now, almost all countries are being affected, and we in D8 also are no exceptions. And at our level, we are monitoring COVID-19 very closely. And what we did when this, affect us earlier, so we immediately reduced our visualizer map, which we work with the Islamic Science Citation Center. And we produce it to monitor that on daily basis, the situation in member countries. And we are very happy that at least among our member countries now, we are talking to one another. We establish our D8 health and social protection program to monitor. But the situation, if I can share with you, right now we have like 2.8 million, overall coming from the 8 countries of COVID cases. And we have like something like close to 96,000 deaths. And we have recovered the cases of about 2.3 million. This is quite huge also for our member countries, and therefore this is quite serious, as I said. And now the health system in the D8 countries are quite overstretched, if I can say that, as cases continue to rise. And as we know, we have a rising number of cases. Now they say the third wave is coming, in Turkey, Iran, Pakistan, Bangladesh, even in Malaysia. That was earlier was quite little in number, but the number is increasing quite alarmingly. And but at the same time, the problem that we face, even countries with superior health system like Turkey, with approximately 2.7 hospital beds per 1,000 people, have been overwhelmed by the number of cases. So this is, as I said, quite worrying, and we are fighting hard. We are trying to find available resources to address this issue. And as I said, second wave, third wave, now we have to deal with it. And hope, as I said, vaccine will come quickly, and that should be able to help us out.
Yeah, and I want to go on with another question.
Yes.
How does the pandemic affect the national and local economies in the 8 countries? This is also important, Mr. Secretary General.
Yes, I agree with you, no doubt about it. We are seeing it everywhere. And I think this pandemic is expected to lead to a global recession. That's how I look at it, and far deeper and more devastating than that of the 2008 economic meltdown. I think we were talking about before meltdown. I was one asked about this question, about the financial crisis in 2008. I said this is two different situations. And it will also result in a loss of income worldwide. The aggregate of which may be 3.4 trillion US dollar, which will affect billions of people across the world. Today, IMF is expecting that figure of the world's GDP growth to reach as high as -5%. And the amount of unemployment stemming from this crisis is also very alarming. So the D8 member countries are not out of this danger. Industries, production, export, imports of the D8 member states are being seriously hampered. Tourism of these states has already reached the lowest point. And this crisis is expected to raise the unemployment rate of the member state terribly. So the compelling need for cooperation and solidarity is inevitable in order to secure the life of our citizens and economies of our member states.
Also, this is important, your activities as D8. what you have done in this process, the fighting with coronavirus, Mr. Secretary General.
Yeah, I'm happy to share, that when COVID-19, was spreading in the very beginning, then we were able to initiate immediately our D-8 health and social protection program. So this is a new sector that we are giving importance to. And so we have taken a vital step to help mitigate the situation in member states. So D8 through our health and social protection program, which we call D8 HSP program, organized immediately a roundtable, and we established 2 working groups as an outcome of that roundtable. One is on the implementation working groups and a resource mobilization working group. So these are 2 important working groups where members are coming from directly from the Ministry of Health of member state. Yeah. So we establish our focal point, we talk to one another, we share our information together, we learn from best practices, experience learning, by comparing notes. And the working group also met regularly, and this is very important. Yeah. And as I mentioned earlier, in collaboration with the Islamic Science World Citation Center that is based in Shiraz in Iran. So we established this COVID map for the member state so that we will be able to monitor that closely. And then, as I said, we are able to communicate. What we do also, we are talking about resource mobilization. We are looking at the possibility of establishing some financing facility, which will mobilize resources for mainly 3 areas. Yeah. We want to look at the emergency pandemic response. We want to look at the public health system, strengthening and shaping health markets, and enhancing development in financing in health. So in addition to that, we are working very closely with the Islamic Development Bank. Yes. And good things now, Islamic Development has also tasked us to work with them to start a project intending to revitalize health market for regional cooperation and trade within member states to build more sustainable and integrated health system that are accessible, affordable to all walk of people. And we are also working with Chatham House from UK to support us by as a partner, in fact, where they also advise us on certain way how we want to deal with it. And right now we are now in the process of arranging a meeting of our ministers of health to see again what best we can do to help the COVID-19 pandemic in member states.
Thanks, Mr. Shaari, for these remarkable examples and activities. And also, I want to learn a detail about this D8 Health and Social Protection Program. I remember that it was in Nigeria, the first step, I think. And please tell us a little about this one. After that, I want to ask also, are you going to do the same projects in the other countries?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, before the COVID, and we were thinking a lot about health, because the way we look at health system in member state, we thought that by working closely to develop health system in the country, it will help, leapfrog even the economic development of member state, learning from some experience from many developed countries. So this is the first idea that came to our mind. And what we did was to write to the Nigerian government to ask them to support this program. And with the support of all member states, then we are able to establish this D8 HSP. And within, I think, not even 2 years, so we're talking about it, that we are able to establish, and it came at the right time when we were now facing this problem of COVID. And what we do was, when we establish it, we aim at enhancing member state GDP, as I said, through resource mobilization, technical assistance, and peer review mechanism. And we prioritize more on universal health coverage. We want to work also to reach the SDG target. So D8 more than 1 billion population would be getting some benefit out of it. And what we did was to have inaugural consultation, as mentioned, that we established 2 working groups from 19 to 20 June 2019 in Abuja, Nigeria. So now we are very happy that the government of Nigeria recently inaugurated our program office. So the Nigerian government has been very kind and generous to support this program. So they provide us with all the edifices, the office, the financial support, and with our other facilities. Now, what we do, we inaugurated it on just recently on 12th November. Yeah. So officially, this office will serve for all member states. It's not only for Nigeria, but we are making Nigeria as a center, looking at the strength. I'm looking at the strength of member state, first, and see what we can work together with one member state to help others. So we're very happy. We are thankful to the Nigerian government for the enormous support and cooperation. Today, I just received also a good news that there's another agency from Nigeria that offers support to us by providing many other facilities. So we are very thankful also to this agency from Nigeria. Now as I see, we are being very active. We are working with WHO. We are working with many other agencies from member states in particular. As I said, they are talking to one another and see what best that we can come out with the establishment of the health and social protection program.
Yeah, that's a good news, by the way. And I want you to go ahead with about the tourism things, Mr. Secretary.
Yes. Yes.
Also, we know that this COVID things affected deeply this COVID, this area, tourism. Also, as we know that the MEWA region is very rich about culture, tourism, and it's also the potential. So how do you evaluate the future of tourism in this region?
Well, I must say, tourism in member state, we have like few member states that are quite advanced in tourism industry. Country like Turkey, of course, country like Malaysia, Egypt, Indonesia, and even other member states now are being affected badly, tourism. And so we can say that you need to do something quickly. And this is exactly what we do here. So I'm happy to inform that while many countries all over the world are being compelled to impose flight restriction and travel ban, and people are not moving anywhere except in emergency cases. And the following figures by the UN WTO will help you realize the extent of the damage occurred to this prospective industry. We have lost something like 850 million to 1.1 billion international tourists now. Loss of US 910 billion to US 1.2 trillion in exports revenues from tourism, and 100 to 120 million jobs at risk. Yeah. And as I said, in member countries also, we are facing this problem. And I'm happy to inform that, again, we were lucky because at the end of 2019, we had the Ministerial Tourism meeting of the 8 member countries in Kuala Lumpur. And in that meeting, then we came up with our tourism strategy of how we want to deal with tourism. So we come up with our strategy, we come up with our Kuala Lumpur Declaration, and we also initiate something called Crescent Moon Initiative. I will elaborate more after this on all this strategy of how we look at tourism industry as an important sector that needs to be developed quickly.
Yeah, And also, these days we are talking about new normal, Mr. Secretary General, aftermath of the pandemic, of course. And what would you say about this one?
Yeah, this is also what change a lot of things that we do.
Yeah.
When it goes as I would see, you know, our mindset also need to change. It's completely different now.
Yeah.
And as I also said earlier, this is more related to humanity issues.
Yeah.
As a human being, I think we have to change the way we you know, structure our thinking to adapt to the new normal. Now you can see in all sectors, be it whatever it is in terms of industries, in terms of knowledge-based thing, school now is changing its pattern, learning pattern will change. You know, humanitarian issues also will change. Industry will change. You talk about tourism, the flight, things will change. The world will go completely to digitalized economy. That's something that we have to think seriously about it. We have to adopt this, you know, digital things, more of talking from different part of the world, but if you feel closely to one another, like we are talking right now. Yeah, but this is the idea, the situation, and I think um, we, as I said, we immediately have to change, you know, the way we do things, the whole process, and the new ecosystem need to be developed differently from before, certainly.
Okay. Plus, I want you to know about your things on the local government's roles in this pandemic. What do you say about this, Mr. Shaari?
Again, um, the local government. You are talking about local government?
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
I know. I think. Well, I think the most important agencies now, one of them beside the hospital, must be local government.
Yeah.
You know, because you have to deal a lot with this issue and with other issues as well, traveling, transportation issues, putting in new law, new SOPs, would give you a lot of headaches now, I'm sure. So I think uh, the role of local leaders has been extremely vital in this how you want to determine how cities would respond to the outbreak in the context of COVID-19, as I'm talking now. And I think local leaders also must communicate with public more, with more information. So public relation work must be done more
Yeah.
to appease the people. We can see, in fact, those local government that are very effective in communicating directly, in sharing every information, you know, every figures that they know
Yeah.
with the public would be able to appease the public, because as we can see, people are being very restless now. People who are being cordoned off at their home through lockdown and whatever are suffering, and you need to give that kind of you know, encouragement and motivation,
Yeah.
that with a proper arrangement, proper discipline, proper system, then they would be able to do something that will not you know, lead them to do some bad things. I think crime rate will increase right now, and when people are suffering, those people are unemployed, and I know local government will have to do more in that context. And I think also at the institutional level, local government must also mobilize their resources to show up support for health services. The frontliners in particular must be given importance. Uh, then facilities should be extended to the most vulnerable to stay safe and healthy. So in this context, I'm happy, you know, that UCLG is giving serious, you know, focus to this issue. The fact that we are talking today, I'm happy to to know that I'm sure many are taking note of what the best way for us to do something. I know you can do better. You are an expert in this area, but at the same time, we have to start thinking about the new, as you say, new normal, and address it better. Yes, that's how I see it.
Thanks, Mr. Shaari, for remarkable space. And also, I want to open the subject is Istanbul Declaration. As you know, that has been published after the 9th D-8 summit in Istanbul 2015. And I remember that important messages were given there, especially economy, education, tourism, climate change, and cooperation.
Yeah.
How did the process go after the summit, and what outcomes have you been obtained till now?
Yeah, the 2017 summit was very important.
Yeah.
We take it that, after 23 years, in existence, D8, we are a young organization, as I can see it. Well, earlier part, when this organization was established,
Yeah.
then we were focusing on building the platform, putting up all the new ideas of how we should work together to improve our economic growth of member state. So there are a lot of things that need to be done at the early process. And it was tough, I must say, for us to establish kind of determination, commitment, and wisdom from the very beginning for us to not only to establish, but to really make it work. And the process started with us when we were giving focus to intra-trade between countries. So we set our vision. So setting the vision was very important at that time, but implementing it also was very important. But somehow, while the world was going through some difficulties, some progress, and whatever, so we go along with that process as well. And it's not easy for us to implement a lot of things. And though we are able to implement some of the, the initiative, the vision, but many, I think I must admit, we failed to do that. And when the 2017 summit, put it very strongly that now we have to have the process that we have to implement all those that have been, initiated. So we take it that the Istanbul Declaration now give us this kind of, encouragement, motivation, and instruction that we have to do something quickly. So, and at the last summit, and the leaders then told us, you have to bring new dynamism to this organization. By not only talking, we have to walk the talk. And walking the talk is very important by having changing the mindset. So we are changing the mindset completely. We try to make the organization to be more of action-oriented organization, result-based organization. So as long as if there's no result, there's nothing good about talking about it, of any sectoral cooperation. And I'm happy to inform that during this last 3 years, we are able to establish many of those desired objective and vision of our leaders. And you mentioned about global climate change and everything. So we are working completely now. We are very close to the United Nations. We look at the SDGs. And I went to the United Nations myself to meet with the Deputy Secretary General. And I'm happy because she's a citizen of our member state from Nigeria. So for that, and she is giving importance. And she told us, that now we have to give importance to South-South cooperation. We have to give importance to North-South cooperation as well. Yeah. And so we are now in the process of signing even agreement with the UN Office of South-South Cooperation. Yeah. And we work closely with United Nations Cooperation on Trade and Development. We are able to come up with a lot of things now. And at the same time, we came up with a new initiative that we must also engage actively with the private sector. And so I'm happy to inform that while having all these programs which I mentioned earlier, we are happy now that we can see our preferential trade agreement that we signed in 2006. Now we can implement it fully. So we have some issues, but at least member states are talking about increasing our trade among member states. But a lot of effort being done, and you mentioned also about some industrial work just now.
Yeah.
So let me just give you some information. As we mentioned, we are able within a short period of time to establish our D8 health and social protection program. On tourism, which is a sector that was left a bit behind. Now we are moving aggressively, and I'm happy to say that last year when we had our ministerial meeting, we come up with this strategy. We come up with our initiative move. And recently, we signed a letter of intent with the World Tourism Forum Institute based in UK for them to support all member states to develop our tourism industry. I'm happy on 27 November, next 2 days, we are going to have our global forum on tourism. So, and D8 will become a partner of this also big conference. And then we have established our D8 International University in Hamadan. Now we are getting our student already.
Actually, my next question, but
okay, I will leave it at that. I will not say it, but at the same time also, I will touch when you ask about the university later about a new initiative that we are undertaking, come to education and knowledge. We also introduce our project support fund, that will allow member state to ask the agencies or private sector even to look for some financial support from us to look at some project. We talk about establishing our D8 designated airport. I received a good letter today also from Sabiha Gojan Airport, from the new executive director, that they are making the linkage, the connectivity with a number of airports in member state through Sabiha Gojan. So this is a great thing. And in the process with private sector, inshallah, come the next summit, we are going to launch, if it is supported fully by our leaders, something that we call the D8 payment card system. We are going to establish something called the D8 Creative Economy and Financial Center as well. We go into all these things. We give importance to all the issues. So it's more of, as I said, implementing the project that we have initiated before, and which we are trying to initiate now, and which we are going to initiate in future as well.
As you mentioned your speech, Mr. Secretary General, this D8 University, that one is one of the important decisions, I think, in Istanbul Summit. So now I think it is in Iran, we have a university there, right?
Right. We we established this university last year in Hamadan, where Ibn Sina was born and was laid down to rest. And the complex of Bu Ali Sina University, and part of it, they give it to us to establish this D8 International University. So we have got our own rector, we have got our own building, we have got our facilities, and this come under the Ministry of Science and Technology of Iran, because our focus now is about developing science, technology, and innovation. To me, this is very important. If we want to increase trade, we have to increase trade and investment. And going into the very most important subject, which is technology. So the D8 International University is put under Ministry of Science and Technology of Iran, and we had our first board meeting also last year. And now we have our rector, we have our staff, we have our professors. We are now taking intake for our master's and PhD students. So we are hoping the student from member state will apply, and many will be given scholarship as well by member state as well as by Iran, Ministry of Science and Technology, and hopefully that this establishment of this university will create a kind of what I used to say that we will inject a kind of intellectuality into the organization. So, and I would like to also mention that we have initiated also something we call D-8 Network of Pioneers for Research and Innovation. And this is a new idea that will also increase the level of cooperation among universities and the higher learning institution. So I'm happy to inform that with this, the International University will become the pillar of all. And at the same time, we are establishing this D8 MPRI. And we have now assembled 26 top universities in member states. Yeah. And we are going to have a first meeting, inshallah, next month in Islamabad in Pakistan. Yeah. So this ComSat University in Pakistan will be the first host for this meeting. And the idea is that we are bringing also many agencies into this kind of ecosystem. So we are now bringing Islamic Development Bank. We are trying to convince TICA to be part of it. There will be one agency from Malaysia called Malaysian Technology Development Cooperation that help develop some local technology to be part of it. And at the same time, I am happy to inform we established our D8 Chambers of Commerce and Industry already last year, and we are working very closely with them. We came up with few business meeting already, and this D8 CCI will be invited to be part of the whole ecosystem, because the idea of the D8 MPRI is just to work with the private sector directly with them, the research institution, so that they can be commissioned to do a lot of research and development, where we can market it to all the member countries. So this is a new idea, and hopefully that we were able to establish again another university organization among us. We will establish a council to look at how we can develop technology among member countries. So these are, some of the things, and I'm giving importance to training as well. Mm-hmm. And I'm also in economic diplomacy. So we have to equip our member state citizens, with new knowledge. So we will start with the first one that we are working with the Malaysian, because I came from this institute before, so I was able to convince them to organize a few training programs. So we are working with the Malaysian Institute of Foreign Relations and Diplomacy to develop an economic diplomacy program for mid-career, not only for our diplomat, but for our economy. So we will have the first one. And this is done with the cooperation of UNCTAD and WTO as well. So inshallah, we are going to have it from 8 and 9 December. I think 8, 9, 10 December as a first training program on economic diplomacy, inshallah. So these are all the new ideas that, that we are trying to inject into bringing new dynamism to the organization.
Yes, Mr. Shaari, actually, you mentioned earlier about this one card payment system.
Yeah.
I just want to get in a detail about this one, because this is important, and it is also planned to be used between these 8 countries, right? And one card, and you, instead of using money, you use these cards, I think. Can you please detail about this?
Well, this, as I said, we try to work with our private sector. Mm-hmm. Because private sector knows what they want. Private sectors smell money sometimes.
Yes.
and they can make things happen quickly, because and we need the support from member state to provide the facilities. So this is exactly, so we are working closely between the government and the private sector now to realize some of our vision. And the good thing about this card actually, at the last summit in Istanbul, I think the Honorable President, our chairman now, President Tayyip Erdogan, make a statement to encourage us, to try to see how can we work to use our local currencies. So the idea came, and this one fintech company from Malaysia came to approach us. They say we learned from this statement. I think we can do something about it. So immediately, then we agreed with them. We get it, approved by the member state for us to see whether we can really do it. Then they come up with this idea that we will start our transaction using our local currencies. And then you have to develop a system, a switching system. So the idea is that this card will see, not only for our business transaction, but we are providing few platforms to address some of the issues that we are facing in the member country. For example, student. So the student now would favor to use all this card system for them to get the facilities at the university. So what we do, they work with the operator that also operate MasterCard and Visa card to have the pilot test in Malaysia with our universities, and with some other pilot tests with some other agencies and citizens, and they came up with a very successful experience and experiment. And there seems to be workable. We are creating a platform for these local currencies used to provide facilities to our migrant workers. We have millions of migrant workers everywhere in our member state. Therefore, we want to create a special platform so that they can use this card, to send the money back. Like for example, from Turkey by sending in lira, but they're getting in tika in Bangladesh, without any harassment, without any exploitation, and some other thing. And the good thing is that we are introducing something that perhaps a new concept. We will work with the commercial bank to try to use gold. So those people who are using our card to transact, and when they redeem the value, they will not get money in cash or in kind. But what they will have their saving in gold bar. So we want to encourage people to save in gold, because this is, I think, is the best thing now. Currency is depreciating everywhere now because of the economic problem that we are facing. Maybe this will help us a bit. So this is at least if I can share with you. And at the same time, I want to inform you that we are now initiating a new project and hope that this will be approved soon. We are creating, I mentioned earlier, something called the D-8 Creative Economy and Financial Center. So this will be an ecosystem built together. But what we are establishing is that we are going to use an Islamic financial tool. So we are going to use the process of zakat, wakaf, hibah, sadaqah, and using the latest, digitalized technology to provide a kind of a new way forward for us to do business transaction. So this is going to be established in Kuala Lumpur, and this is so we are working with one group from Malaysia, a private sector, a private bank, in fact, to introduce this. Alhamdulillah, right now I think we receive good support, and Malaysian government is fully supportive of this idea, behind it, and many Malaysian government agencies, as well as some private sector, are coming to work with us because they see is a kind of a new idea that will be developed. I think this is something that we are trying, to implement.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary General. I just want to also touch upon UCLG-MEWA's and D-8 relations.
Yeah.
As you know that both parties have signed the memorandum of understanding in 2015. So how do you evaluate the relations between the two parties?
Well, I'm happy, you know, that we have a good relation with one another, and I always participate in the, you know, UCLG-MEWA program, and I was able also to give some of my views and ideas sometime. And we meet quite regularly, you know, between the Secretary Generals and the management staff, and I think that gives me an opportunity to see also from the different perspective, different point of view of what that we can do together. Of course, we plan actually to have a few things, but because of COVID, then we have to stop all these things. But I see, you know, local government as important. I mentioned earlier in the beginning about, you know, how important it is, the work and role of local government, in particular now. And I think we have to continue working together to come up with new ideas. So we look at all this opportunity for our mutual, our partnership for mutual benefit, you know, of the citizen and urban citizen or local government citizen. And we want to see opportunities again, as long as it gives us the opportunity to pursue the sustainable economic and social development, and D8 is ready to do anything for that reason. I hope we'll be able to explore more opportunities between UCLG-MEWA and D8.
Inshallah, Mr. Secretary General. This is my, by the way, last question, but
Yes.
this is really fruitful meeting, by the way. Thank you again, you're joining us. What is your message to local governments, Mr. Shaari?
Number one, as I said, you must yourself think that you are very important.
Yeah.
But in particular now, I think that will give a kind of you know, encouragement and motivation that local government need to do more now. Not only about, you know, looking at the clogging system about all the system, the transportation system, the traffic light system, and whatever, but going more towards helping the people. I think that is very important. As I say, we look at it more of a humanity issues. People will come and harass you more, I'm sure. Local government looking for help, looking for assistance, and that will increase a lot more work, I think, for local government and also the in the urban cities. Very important. So to me, perhaps we have to look at, you know, a new standard of procedures. I think we have to look at new arrangement. We have to look at new discipline in particular right now. So it is clear that local and in future days to again, to me, to ensure fair and equitable distributions of the vaccine in particular. I think this will be also important when the vaccine come to us. Then and working together as committee leaders, I think people will be looking up to the leaders locally because you will be very close to the community. So advanced system that will be not to beautify the cities, but to look at the serious issues, both I would say in terms of the physical part and the spiritual part of it. People need to be cared more now. Love need to be given more to them, and assistance need to come more, and helping them back to community is important. I made a lot of statements saying that this is a time for us to go back to the community. This is a time for us to give importance to them. This is a time for us to develop something that they can earn good money and income by doing it themselves. You know, so some initiative must be created for them to do that. So I remember once I made a statement to say that that we have to take care of people at home, the single mother that can earn income from her house, from her home herself. We have to take care of the vendors on the street that now will not be visited by many people, but how can they make a good income so that they can sustain their need to care for their family. And we need to care for all these things. So we have to devise initiative that will bring back things to them. Of course, as I mentioned earlier, digital economy will be very important. Online business will be mushrooming now, but we have to be very careful because while it is the new practical thing to do, but it will lead to some criminal activities. People will be exploited, by using this online transaction and whatever. Many schemes will emerge to cheat the people. I think we have to look at it. So we have to be even smarter than before in addressing these very important, crucial issues. Yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shaari. It was really meaningful and remarkable meeting, I think. And you separate your time for us, and this is also so important. Thanks again for everything. And please bring our warm welcome to your friends, and please stay in health.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much again. So, and again, thanks for giving me this special opportunity to interact with you and with the audience, the participants. So I hope and I wish them all the best, participants. I hope we can stay safe, stay healthy during this pandemic time. And again, to the UCLG-Mewa, you have your friends here, and we look forward to to again have a good partnership with some initiative together.
Thank you.
Thank you again. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, they are all. Today we talk a special subject with Mr. Shaari, economic and local impacts of COVID-19 and pandemic in countries. Thank you very much for you all for watching us and staying healthy. Thank you.